Hello, welcome back to Wisconsin Hydroponic Gardening. Today we're going to be making a Dutch bucket for my 16 bucket Dutch bucket system with built-in NFT for lettuce. We'll get to the full build in a different one. As you can kind of see there, what we've got. We have the Dutch bucket. We've got our grommet in there. We've got a riser piece that's going to give us about 2.5 gallons of water in this 3-gallon bucket. And we've got a 6-inch net pot that fits in the top there nicely. So we need our 3-gallon bucket. We need 2 1/2-inch elbows. We need 1 3-inch 1/2-inch PVC with the end beveled. I don't know how well you can see the end is beveled there. And we need a 4.5-inch piece of PVC with ridges cut in the top. This is going to be a riser, so this is kind of preventing debris from falling into the into the system. I don't want any hydrogen or anything to clog this up, or roots or anything like that. So that'll be the riser. Then we've got our grommet. This is what's going to make it leak proof. We've got our drill. This is going to drill our initial hole, and then we have our 1-inch hole saw, a little heavier duty drill, and this is going to drill our bigger hole that we're going to put our grommet in. Okay, I learned this from watching YouTube by watching, first I watched Brandon Matthew, and I watched his Dutch bucket system in his greenhouse, and he mentioned NPH Gardener, so I went and checked out NPH Gardener and watched all his videos and took some notes on what he did. Great guy, does a really good build. I'm doing mine a little bit differently, but I got all my ideas from him. He does a really good job. Anybody who is checking this out, if they haven't checked him out, I definitely suggest checking out him and Brandon Matthew. Both they both did a really good job. I'll put links down in the comments below so you can check them out. And well, let's get started. First thing you do is you take your drill and you measure about 3.5 inches up. I've done a few of these already, as you can tell. You want to drill that initial hole. Now what that's going to do is that's going to prevent this from sucking you down, but it doesn't really matter because we're actually going to do it backwards anyways, because it drills a little bit tighter hole. If you do it the other way, it has the opportunity to kind of pull you through the bucket. If you pull through the bucket, you can get a weird hole. You know, if you don't have a perfectly round hole, that grommet's not really going to keep a seal. So you want to make sure that you've got a perfectly round hole there. Find your hole. We're going in reverse here, so it's going to take a little longer. I got to plug in my tool here. Probably should have thought ahead for that, but it's all right. It takes a second. Okay, I'm going to take this right here. You really don't have to put a whole lot of pressure on it, and that'll pull right through. It does leave a little bit of a lip on the back, but one thing I've noticed is that lip actually holds that grommet on really well. Keeps a nice tight seal. So until I find otherwise, I'm going to suggest keeping it. I did a couple the other way. I had them leak on me because I don't know if I cut too much off the back or maybe I cut the hole weird. But anyways, so you want to take that grommet. I'm going to take it, put it inside of the hole. Make sure when you first put it in there, it's not necessarily perfect. This one turned out pretty good right away. But you want to go in the back and you want to kind of peel the grommet back, and you want to make sure that it fits perfectly in this hole. Okay. Then you want to take your 4-inch piece of 1/2-inch PVC. You're going to take that end that you kind of whittle down on the end, make it a little more of a point. And I don't suggest putting anything on here. Just use a little elbow grease. You know, I suggest what I normally do is I just kind of spin it in, and that normally works. You don't want to put anything on it because it can break down the grommet. Anything oil-based, and that's one thing you can do. without putting anything on it is you want to make sure this grommet stays on. Doesn't always stay in there perfect, but just means you got to go a little bit slower. It's not a big deal. You're going to hold that grommet in the hole with your left hand. If you're left-handed, you'll do it the other way as you're turning it in through the grommet. And you know this is going to be a tight seal because you can barely get it through. As I was saying, you don't want to put anything on there. Maybe put a little water on there and see if that lubricates a little bit, because any oil is going to break that grommet down. It's going to stay in that grommet, and that is what is keeping you watertight. As you can tell, it's not incredibly easy to do, but after a little while, a little bit of force, you'll get it to go through. And you want it to go through about 1.5 inches. Something like that. That's going to give you a good seal. You're going to take your elbows. Alright, you're going to take one facing down. And then you're going to take one facing up. Alright? Then you're going to take this, your riser piece, your 4.5 inch riser. You're going to take that and slide that onto the top. That's going to give you, like I said, about 2.5 gallons of water. What I did for the lids, I just found something that was 5.5 inches. That's about where I wanted to be on this. I found it a circle, and I just cut it with a carpenter's knife. It wasn't easy doing 16 buckets, but it did work. Okay, and you want to line it up, and there you go. You have a 2.5 gallon Dutch bucket setup. Put some hydrogen in here, put your tomatoes, put your peppers in there, and it's going to work really well for you. Alright, thanks for watching. Got any comments? Leave some comments down below. Subscribe. Thanks.